Tucker Carlson is left speechless as Donald Trump Jr. shares a story about JD Vance. Guys, this is going to be a lot of fun. I think you're going to like it. I personally enjoyed it. JD Vance was quite an interesting and unique pick by Donald Trump in terms of the vice presidency, and was actually very controversial at the time that he was picked. It's hard to remember this, but it was, at least in the right-wing circles. And we'll get to that in a second. You'll see more on that. But first, everybody, do me a big favor here. Like our video, share it around, and if you are new, subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel so we can keep bringing you guys this great content. And for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much and welcome back. As always, everybody, I'm your host, Darian. Let's get into the show.
What I love about what's going on right now, when you have, like, my father, and you have, a Vivek, and you have a JD who, in all fairness, I think I should probably get a little credit for just kind of taking on the billionaire donor class that wanted their puppet VP. And
if only people knew how much credit you deserve for that.
So,
that was a heroic.
I don't ask for much, but I was like, I'm all in on that.
That story will never be written, but that was one of the great moments in any politics I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of politics.
You definitely exerted. I exerted 10,000% of my political capital. I may get I may get a favor from my father in 2076. I used it all, but it was great after the debate
and it actually worked out. He turned out to be amazing.
Listen, if I go all in, it's usually I feel really strong. I don't go all in often. There's not a lot of things I'm sort of indifferent. I'll work around some of the bad stuff, right? This was one that was it was really important to me. And
but there have been no hiccups.
Honestly, it's sort of interesting. I've had a lot of these sort of Republican donor class people come up to me, which is really stupid of them, by the way. But they're like, Don, I was MFing you for 3 weeks about that decision because I really wanted X, Y, Z. And then I'm like, you really shouldn't tell me that you were doing that behind my back. I appreciate the candor now, but I'm I don't know, I'm going to remember that. But they're like, but you were right. And then, and the only one that mattered, I wanted my father to be happy, but it was after the debate. My phone's blowing up in my pocket. And I figured it was press, or I'm doing the spin room for 2 hours after the debate and, doing all this. My phone I'm just turning off my phone. And it was I had 12 missed calls from my dad. I'm like,
we're going to hear about those missed calls in just a moment here. Real quick, there's something really important to notice here. So many people were so upset, particularly people on the Republican side of the aisle, about JD Vance being selected. And one of the most common things I personally saw cited by a lot of these establishment Republican goons was that, JD Vance, he made some comments in the past that might trigger women, so we got to get rid of him. Namely, him joking and roasting childless cat ladies, actually, ironically enough, on Tucker Carlson's show. By the way, this was years back. It's totally irrelevant to now. And even if it was a week ago in the time when he was selected, who cares? Seriously, it's such a dumb thing. And the reason why these silly Republicans cared was because you had these leftist hacks and the fake news media going around complaining about it, saying, JD Vance, he's so terrible. He hates women. He's making fun of them. He's attacking them for their choices. And you had all these stupid Republicans falling for it, hook, line, and secret, saying, no, it should have been a moderate. Should have been somebody like Doug Burgum. Doug Burgum. Who even knows who that guy is? He's so boring. The only reason anybody knows his name is because he ran for president in the Republican primary in 2024. Oh, wait, who is he again? Yeah, you're right. We already forgot who he is. Exactly my point. JD Vance, meanwhile, actually has something interesting to him in a way that Burgum doesn't. So undoubtedly a much better choice, and the people criticizing it, maybe you should just sit this one out. Maybe you should just sit this one out in the future. One more thing, quick addendum to add. They claimed that Trump was going to lose with women and minorities because JD Vance is so extreme and terrible. Well, how did that work out? Looks like he did pretty well, and he even won the popular vote, which we'll get more to a little later on because that is unheard of for a Republican. And now, let's get back to that phone call that Donald Trump Jr. had with his father. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, boy. That's usually not great. And he just gets on the phone and he goes, Don, I did that for you, Don, but that was a 10. And that, a huge win in Trump world is a 6. And so when he was that was a 10, that's as close to a 10 as you're going to get. I was like, okay, we got it. But, it was watching him, even that first week, as the narrative, they were trying to crush this guy. They would have tried to crush anyone. I understand that. Yeah. But, they were trying to crush him. And I just watched him on the Sunday shows do 3 in a row, just absolutely dismantle the narrative. Because our problem on our side is they want to be loved by these people who literally hate their guts.
Oh, yeah.
We joke about the gulags, but they would gladly put any one of us in if they could just snap their fingers and make it happen. And, it was watching that where JD didn't just take their, January 6th was an insurrection. Okay, it was an insurrection, but, it wasn't it's no, this is ridiculous. What are you talking about? And just absolutely crush these people. And it's because no one's ever pushed back.
I know.
It's not that they're smart. It's like people want to get invited back on the show, so they concede so much ground. So, you're starting a negotiation with already less than you're even hoping to get. And it's like, well, why would you do that? And he's been one of the first people to really break the mold on that and just sort of, not just accept the narrative blindly and push back. So it's been awesome to see.
Himself.
Well, he can explain himself. And for me, again, politics has not been like an upside business for us. It's not a business for us at all. It's cost us billions of dollars.
He's totally right about this. And in fact, Donald Trump Jr.'s father, President Donald Trump, doesn't it feel nice to be able to say that again? And it actually is the case now. I love that. But anyways, take, for instance, Donald Trump's rhetoric against immigration back in 2016. He was against both legal and illegal immigration. Well, specifically, he wanted to lower legal immigration, of course, was completely against illegal immigration. And he was attacked as a racist and a white supremacist and all the stupid stuff. But Trump sat there, took it to the chin and said, I'm actually the least racist person you'll ever know. And we don't do it because we hate people on the outside. We do it because we love people on the inside. Trust me, there were many GOP Republican consultants at the time who were saying, Trump, you need to chill on this. You're going to alienate the women. You're going to alienate the minorities. People are going to think you're a big racist orange meanie. You got to stop. And Trump held strong. And guess what? He won. Same thing in 2020. Trump actually talked about the Haitian migrants and talked about how they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. You had a lot of Republican pundits who were then complaining at the same time, as well as people in the establishment saying, oh, this is terrible. You're going to look goofy. You're going to look stupid. People are going to think you're racist now. Stop. But guess what? Trump got the media to talk about the issue. He got people to learn about it, and he still won the election as well as got the popular vote. Ha! Seems like some of that conventional advice isn't so good after all. Just saying.
Yeah. But I believe in this stuff. And so to know that there's also someone, we have a bench. There's a future of the Republican Party. It's not like now it reverts back to Mitt Romney and whatever it may be. And that was fun. See you guys later. America First is alive and well. And, seeing a Vivek and seeing some of these other guys come up there and now step out and, just absolutely dismantle that establishment class day in and day out. You can just see truly impressive people actually on our side for a change. And I'm like, this is the way.
And I got to say, I feel personally vindicated because I've told you this many times, but I remember 5 years ago, oh, Donald Trump's so stupid. I was like, no, actually, Don's the smartest guy in the orbit and actually understands politics on a gut level way better than anybody else in the whole.
Yeah, you had a bad news cycle for that. I remember that. I was like, wow, that was pretty cool.
Well, it's true. It's true.
And they went after you pretty hard.
But I said that because it's true. And I think now it's very obvious that it's true. So congratulations. I think you've been vindicated, and I mean that.
Man, it was interesting. Last night, just being in Michigan at 2:00 in the morning, watching an entire stadium still energized and invigorated, and just being sort of, I think we win. I think we do great, whatever it is. But it was man, that was sort of an end of an era. Trump on the campaign trail.
I know.
I don't think we'll ever see that again. No. There's not enough personality in politics. There's not enough sort of.
It's so overwhelming. I mean, I met all these people who've been to, I've been to 40 Trump rallies, and it's why? And the answer is because they're so fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, there are people that have been to over 100 that I've met. And I'm I'm not sure I've been to 100. My theory on that when they're I'm not the guy looking for credit. I'm not the guy trying to.
No, you're not. It's true.
I'm not the guy trying to be in the selfie. And politics. There's all these people well, why are you here? You could actually do something if you were out of, in all fairness, you're adding, if Trump's in the room, virtually no one else adds any value, right?
No, I've been there. Yeah,
give him a mic, true. He'll be fine. He doesn't need your help. He doesn't need your sage advice of, bullshit. But you still see a lot of that where they're just there to be in the background, to be seen there. And I'm so I'm the opposite. Yesterday, I did want to do the last day. Yesterday was the only day in the entire cycle that I've spent with my father. I just,
was it fun?
It was great. But I'm kind of like my dad that way. I rather have the mic also. So it's I'm sitting there at the end of 4 rallies, it's, 5:30 in the morning and I'm exhausted. And you know what it's like,
Very
you get up on the stage when we did our great event up in Jacksonville and there's 17,000 people there.
Yeah.
And I'm you get done. It's okay, it's bedtime. It's yeah, I'm not going to sleep for hours. I'm
I know.
You absorb some of that energy when the crowd gives you that. You absorb that energy and you're not. So it's, I'm looking at my dad and I'm honestly, I'm always impressed with him. And, whether it's, getting shot in the face and coming back defiant or but his overall energy, it's 6 a.m. He's been going since 6 a.m., 24 hours. He's had thousands of people that he's been entertaining. It's not like a Kamala Harris speech, which is 7 minutes off a prompter. I mean, you can have a 45-minute speech in the prompter, but he's up there for, 120 minutes. It's like, I'm like, for the love of God, like we did the first rally in North Carolina. We got there relatively on time. And like, by the time we got done, we're like, well, we're already 2 hours behind schedule. I'm like, I'm not going to get to sleep tonight. Like, and I'm going to be on TV and radio all morning. So, I pulled an all-nighter, but the guy's 78, pulls an all-nighter, is doing TV all day, doesn't go to sleep at all. And I'm like, I don't even know that. I don't have that at 46. Like it's I'm like,
it goes without saying that Trump is very high energy.
High energy.
It's no secret that Trump is full of star power and he radiates the room with his energy wherever he goes. And this is an amazing thing, and it's a very good thing for him and his campaign, of course. That obviously ended up doing very well. I will say one word of caution, though. This is something for the GOP to think about going forward. That is going to be very hard to match, and perhaps it's impossible to match. I don't know. That's something we'll have to find out. And that is something they're going to have to consider later on when they're selecting their next guy, because whoever that guy is, for him to capture the love, dedication of the MAGA base the way Trump did, that is no easy feat, my friends. And I'm very interested to see how that looks in the future. We shall see. With all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. As always, everybody, please be sure to comment below. What'd you think? What do you think about Trump's historic win? I want to know. Let us know, everybody, and we'll see you again soon. God bless.